episode titled The Backwards Day. The morning began peacefully. Peppa woke up in her room, where George was still sleeping nearby. The sun was shining outside. Mummy Pig was calling everyone for breakfast, and Daddy Pig was already humming something cheerful in the kitchen. Everything seemed completely normal until Peppa tried to get out of bed. Suddenly, she did everything in a strange way. First, she lay back down, then she sat up, and only after that, she put her feet on the floor, as if her movements were going backwards instead of forwards. Peppa was surprised, but she thought she was just still sleepy. She went downstairs and Mummy asked if she had slept well. Peppa wanted to say, "Yes, very well," but what came out was strange and backwards. Everyone became quiet. George looked at Peppa, and Daddy Pig thought she was only joking. But Peppa was not joking. She tried to speak normally, but every word came out the wrong way around. She felt worried because she understood herself, but everyone else understood her less and less. After breakfast, things became even stranger. Peppa picked up her spoon only after she seemed to have finished eating. She left rooms by walking backwards, closed doors before entering them, and laughed before anyone said anything funny. Mummy Pig thought it was an unusual game, but Peppa could feel that the game was not stopping. In the garden, Peppa tried to jump into a puddle, but first she stepped out of it dry, then she appeared inside it, and only after that did she jump. Footprints appeared on the ground before she took a step. George noticed this and became frightened. He understood that something mysterious was happening to Peppa. She was living the day backwards, while everyone else was moving normally. By evening, Peppa began to notice even stranger things. The clock in the house sometimes ticked backwards. A ball rolled toward her before George pushed it. In the mirror, Peppa's reflection moved correctly, but the real Peppa moved the wrong way. Then Peppa understood that the mirror might be a clue. She stood in front of the hallway mirror and tried to say her own name. The word came out wrong again, but her reflection silently said it correctly. Peppa. Then the reflection raised one hand and pointed toward an old drawing under the table. On the drawing, Peppa was drawn backwards, and beside her there was a clock with its hands moving the wrong way. Peppa remembered that in the morning she had found the drawing and turned it upside down because she thought it looked funny. Right after that, everything had begun. She carefully picked up the drawing, turned it the right way, and placed it beside the clock. The house became quiet. The clock hands stopped, then they started moving forward again. Peppa took a deep breath and said, "Mummy." This time, the word sounded right. Everyone was happy, and George hugged his dinosaur tightly. The day became normal again, and Peppa no longer spoke backwards. But that night, when everyone went to bed, Peppa opened her eyes and looked at the mirror. In the reflection, she was sleeping peacefully, but the real Peppa was sitting up in bed. Then she heard a quiet voice from the mirror. It spoke backwards. Peppa did not understand the words, but she felt what they meant. "I will come back tomorrow." Episode titled Peppa's New House. It was a normal morning. There were boxes all around the pig family house. Mummy Pig was packing dishes, Daddy Pig was carrying things to the car, George was holding his dinosaur, and Peppa was looking at the empty living room. Today, the family was moving to a new house. Daddy Pig said the house was bigger, brighter, and not far from the forest. Peppa was happy at first, but when they arrived, she felt strangely quiet inside. The new house stood on a hill. It had large windows, a long hallway, and stairs that creaked even during the day. Mummy Pig said it was only the old floor. Daddy Pig laughed and started carrying boxes inside. George quickly found a place for his dinosaur in the living room. Peppa went to see her room. She shared it with George as usual, but the room was bigger than before. In the corner stood an old wardrobe that had already been in the house. Peppa opened the wardrobe. It was empty inside, but on the back wall, there were small scratches. They looked almost like letters, but Peppa could not read them. She closed the wardrobe and decided not to think about it. All day, the family unpacked. By evening, the house almost felt cozy. Mummy Pig made dinner, Daddy Pig said the move had gone well, and George fell asleep earlier than usual. At night, Peppa woke up. The room was dark. George was sleeping quietly nearby. At first, Peppa thought she had heard the stairs creak. Then the sound came again, but closer. It was not coming from the hallway, it was coming from the wardrobe. Peppa sat up in bed and looked toward the corner. The wardrobe door was slightly open, even though she was sure she had closed it. Peppa quietly got out of bed and walked closer. Inside the narrow gap, there was only darkness. Then a face appeared in that darkness. It was Peppa, the same as her but wrong. Her smile was too still, her eyes did not blink, and her head was tilted to one side. Peppa stepped back. The other Peppa did not move, she only stared. Peppa wanted to call Mummy Pig, but her voice would not come out. Then the clone whispered, "You are sleeping in my room." Peppa closed her eyes. When she opened them again, the wardrobe was shut. In the morning, she told her family. Daddy Pig said it had been a dream. Mummy Pig stroked Peppa's head and said the new house simply felt unfamiliar. During the day, everything was normal, but Peppa noticed that the wardrobe sometimes opened by itself, just a little. George pointed at it with his dinosaur and said, "Peppa." Peppa asked why he had said that. George only shrugged. The next night, Peppa woke again. The wardrobe was open wider. The other Peppa was standing inside. Now she was not only a face, she stood there completely holding a small box. "I moved here too," she said. Peppa hid under the blanket, but the voice was already closer. "Now there are two of us." In the morning, the wardrobe was empty, but a box was lying on the floor. Peppa opened it. Inside was a family photograph. In it, Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig, George and two Peppas stood in front of the new house. One smiled normally. The other looked straight at Peppa and did not blink.